On the morning of August 21st, 1983, in the serene skies above Silvana, Washington, an otherwise routine skydiving flight turned into a catastrophe that would shake the aviation and skydiving communities to their core. The aircraft involved, a Lockheed L-18 Learstar operated by Landry Aviation, was not just another plane. It was a modified high-performance transport aircraft, typically celebrated for its robust construction and dependable performance. Yet that day, despite its legacy and capabilities, it succumbed to a tragic sequence of human misjudgment and aerodynamic inevitability. The flight was scheduled as a high-capacity skydiving lift, involving a total of 24 parachutists. Such missions were not uncommon for Landry Aviation, which had a reputation for operating aircraft for sport parachuting. However, what separated this flight from the many that came before it was a critical oversight in aircraft loading procedures. The aircraft was packed with parachutists, and while the total number exceeded what might be considered safe for such an operation, the more pressing issue was the improper distribution of weight within the cabin. The center of gravity, a vital component in any flight operation, was not properly managed. Pilots are trained extensively in weight and balance calculations. In skydiving operations, managing the center of gravity becomes even more challenging, particularly when jumpers shift en masse toward the exit door. This shifting of human weight has a direct impact on the aerodynamics of the aircraft. On that fateful day, as the plane reached jump altitude and the skydivers prepared for their exit, too many individuals moved toward the rear and side exits simultaneously. The abrupt and excessive change in the aircraft's balance resulted in a critical aft center of gravity shift. The pilot, experienced yet seemingly overwhelmed by the situation, was unable to compensate for the sudden change. The Lockheed L-18, while reliable, was not designed to withstand such a rapid and extreme shift in load distribution. As the skydivers began their exit, the nose of the plane pitched upward, and the aircraft entered an aerodynamic stall. At that altitude and configuration, recovery was near impossible. Eyewitnesses on the ground later reported seeing the aircraft enter a steep climb, followed by an uncontrolled descent. Some of the skydivers were able to jump clear of the aircraft during the initial moments of the stall, but not all were so fortunate. In the seconds that followed, the plane spiraled toward the earth in a tragic dance of lost control. When it impacted the ground near Silvana, it exploded in a fireball that left no survivors on board. Among the 24 parachutists aboard, only a handful managed to exit in time. 11 individuals perished in the crash, 2 pilots and 9 skydivers, leaving behind a trail of grief, unanswered questions, and a renewed urgency within the aviation safety community. The incident underscored the delicate balance between thrill-seeking and safety, and how quickly even a slight deviation from procedure can have catastrophic consequences. In the days that followed, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, launched an intensive investigation. Their objective: to piece together the events that led to the mid-air stall and subsequent crash. Initial findings quickly pointed toward a failure in load management. Although the aircraft was within its overall weight limits, the distribution of that weight was significantly flawed. Interviews with surviving jumpers provided chilling insight. Several noted that there was no clear protocol on how many could move toward the exit at once. In the high adrenaline environment of a skydiving operation, coordination can become chaotic. There appeared to be an assumption that the pilots could compensate for any changes, and a lack of understanding among jumpers about how their movements could affect the aircraft's stability. This tragic assumption was further compounded by the aircraft's configuration. The Lockheed L-18 had been modified to accommodate skydiving operations, but these modifications did not include safeguards to prevent too many individuals from congregating near the exits simultaneously. In the post-crash analysis, Experts emphasized that while modifications may meet structural standards, they must also account for dynamic load changes during actual operations. The NTSB's final report was stark in its conclusions. The crash resulted from pilot error, specifically the failure to maintain proper load distribution during skydiving operations. The report noted that both the primary and co-pilot were experienced but ultimately failed to anticipate or correct the dangerous shift in weight. Contributing factors included the lack of standardized procedures for skydiver movement within the aircraft and inadequate supervision of passenger actions during the jump sequence. The broader skydiving community responded with a mixture of mourning and mobilization. Skydiving clubs and operators across the country re-evaluated their safety protocols. Many implemented stricter rules on exit procedures, ensuring that only a limited number of parachutists could move toward the door at any given time. Aircraft loadmasters were introduced or given expanded authority to manage weight distribution actively during flight. In the world of aviation, every incident adds a brick to the wall of safety improvements. The Lockheed L-18 Learstar crash was a devastating event, but it also became a case study in human factors, aerodynamics, and operational discipline. Flight schools began incorporating case studies from the crash into their training curriculums, using the tragic outcome to reinforce the importance of load management, especially in unconventional flight operations. Families of the victims, while heartbroken, often became advocates for better safety standards. Some channeled their grief into action, forming organizations that worked alongside the FAA and skydiving associations to establish safer operational guidelines. Memorials were held annually, and the names of the lost were etched not just in stone, but in the consciousness of a community that vowed never to let such a tragedy happen again. As time passed, the lessons of August 21, 1983 remained relevant. Even in the era of advanced avionics and flight management systems, the basic principles of flight, weight, balance, control, remain paramount. The Lockheed L-18 Learstar crash served as a powerful reminder that no technological advancement can replace vigilance, planning, and respect for the forces that govern flight. The story of that day is told and retold not only in safety seminars, but around campfires at drop zones, in quiet moments of remembrance, and in the minds of those who step aboard an aircraft with a parachute on their back. It is a cautionary tale, yes, but also a tribute to those who were lost and to the enduring human commitment to learning from our darkest hours to build a safer future.